Welcome to VSB News Online for Friday, June 12th. I'm Peter Cattell. Bermuda has gone out of its way to assure the visiting couple who were robbed on the railway trail in Somerset that the community is appalled by their ordeal. Before their cruise ship left today, the elderly couple, Professor Bob and Marion Zinman, met with the governor and his wife and were then taken to Parliament, where Premier Michael Dunkley and opposition leader Mark Bean offered their sympathy. They spoke to Brian Darby before leaving Parliament.
Bermuda has always been a hospitable and welcoming place, and it continues to be so. That's the most important thing.
Have you been coming here before?
Oh, we've been here maybe 40 times. We really are tourists who love Bermuda.
From the States?
From New York, yes, sir.
And does this in a way stop you from coming again?
No, not at all. As my wife said, we love Bermuda, and we have never seen any problem in all the times that we've been here. And these things happen once in a while. What's so impressive is the way the police and the government kind of gathered around to try to prevent this, and that has to be done. I'm sure that it won't happen again.
But it makes you a little difficult now, diffident about actually walking along the railway trails because they were built there, designed for you. Yeah.
Yes, they were. And we always enjoyed our every visit, practically every visit. We walked part of the trail.
Will you again?
I'd like to.
Yeah, I guess so. I'd like to walk with the group next time.
Well, you don't hold it against us, obviously. It's one of those things.
We visited with the governor and his wife, and they were so gracious. It was just it was wonderful.
Gracious.
Shadow Minister for Public Safety Walter Roban was one of the parliamentarians who met with the American couple who had been robbed on the railway trail when they visited Parliament on Friday. Afterwards, he said that the events of the past week did not bode well for the safe and joyous summer that everyone had been looking forward to.
We are firmly against this terrible spate of incidences that we've seen with bank robberies, with robbing of tourists on our railway trails, which to everyone is been a relatively safe part of the Bermuda experience for most of us here who live here. And to hear of visitors being held up on the trails, or of course, to my distress once again, gunshots in the St. Monica's Road area, which is in my district. And just at the beginning of the summer, actions that sort of jeopardize the feeling of safety and security that we all should feel, that people visiting Bermuda should feel. So we're against this, and we're calling on all good citizens to take whatever steps they can take to stop those who are going to be bringing and who are bringing this sort of feeling to our community at the beginning of what we all hope will be an optimistic and joyful summer.
Remember the 60 countries that signed tax information treaties with Bermuda in order to receive data on the finances of international companies? Now, the global tax authorities are insisting this is not good enough and that the data be made available automatically through computer programming. Putting the new scheme to Parliament today, Finance Minister Bob Richards was clearly no more happy than the opposition.
We're moving from that to something called automatic exchange, where it is not on a by request basis, it's on some sort of automated system. And this is the way the world is going, and we pretty much have no choice but to go along with it. And of course, automatic exchange doesn't mean that every Tom, Dick, and Harry has access to every company's information. But it's going to be on a much more automated basis so that the information is obtained more quickly.
Are we talking about access on the internet?
I think we're talking about some sort of online computerized function, yeah.
Do you have any kind of resistance to that?
Well, we're concerned about it, but we're already there with FATCA, and this just seems to be the way of the world. As I told the House I quoted Kenny Rogers, you have to know when to hold and know when to fold. And this one here, we have to cooperate or else we'd be branded as an outlaw jurisdiction, which would be the kiss of death for Bermuda.
They're looking for any excuse, aren't they?
Well, but we are in a different place from, should I say, other dots on the map in financial services. We're very much in the arena of corporate finance and insurance, where these companies are quite happy to give the tax man information because they know they're not doing anything illegal.
8 months after being ravaged by Hurricanes Gonzalo and Faye, the city of Hamilton has bounced back with parks, sidewalks, and gardens blooming with flowers. It's part of the City in Bloom project, and Parks Superintendent Stephen De Silva tells Giles Webb he and his team are blooming proud.
City in Bloom for us is our efforts to beautify the city with floral displays. There's planters that we're putting out all around the city that are full of flowers and palms. It's the City in Bloom.
And what is the object of that exercise?
Well, certainly we want to beautify the city. We want people to come in and enjoy the color that is so readily available this time of the year, spring and into the summer. It's not an easy job.
I know you have Bars Bay Park, Fort Hamilton, and some of the areas around the streets. I wanted to ask you, how do you manage to maintain all of that?
Well, we have a team. We have about 18, a staff of 18 whose responsibilities are solely looking after anything that grows in the city, which of course includes weeds that are a problem. But from Fort Hamilton to Bars Bay and everywhere in between, there's a green spot from north to south that right now I encourage people to come out and enjoy. They're all in full flower. The grass is green, and they're very, very, very relaxing places to come and visit.
Now, do you get the impression that people take this for granted, or do you get comments about it?
No, I don't think people take it for granted. We get positive comments all the time. We get people who will stop by and congratulate our staff on the jobs that they're doing. We get people who will call City Hall, and we get people who will write letters to the editor about it. And we get a lot of feedback.
And we'll be right back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Community Affairs Minister Patricia Gordon Pamplin resisted attempts from the opposition in Parliament today to have her name the selection committee that recommended this year's two heroes, Gladys Morell and Sir E.T. Richards. The matter was raised by Walter Roban.
This committee will be charged with doing a few other things as well. And the one thing that we wanted to highlight is that instead of naming up front who this committee was, we would wait I believe more appropriately until some of the other work has been done so that there is not inordinate pressure being placed, so that when recommendations come out from the committee, that they are recommendations that have been, sort of devoid of any external pressures. And politics. I just think it makes, and certainly politics. And there are no politicians on that committee, so it was quite, it was well put together, and it was, well named and highly recognized people from the community who agreed to serve on that committee. And they do have, as I said, a 3-year tenure.
Now, they had 30 applications to choose 2 from. Those other names, are they of any interest to you?
The names, because people in the community have nominated those other people, obviously every person who is nominated is of significance. It was a very difficult choice with some of the names that had been put forward, but some of the criteria, as I highlighted in the statement this morning, that we were looking in this particular instance to make sure that whoever was nominated fit a significant number, if not all, of the criteria, the prerequisites for nomination. And I certainly think that the two successful nominees for National Hero for this year certainly met most of those criteria.
We on the PLP side find her answer extraordinary and unacceptable. This is a committee that is making recommendations on nationally accepted public figures. It is under the government purvey, and this is not the first time this sort of committee has sat before, since the framework for National Heroes was set up under the Progressive Labor Party, and it was known. If the committee is a truly broad-based selection of persons from our community, there is no reason, if they're going to be naming public spaces, public buildings, and other things that the minister has revealed today, because this is the first time we're hearing that his remit is going to be so wide, then the public has the right to know who is participating in these recommendations. It is extraordinary that such secrecy is being held under a group of persons who are making decisions about who we are to accept, firstly, as our national heroes.
They've been appointed for 3 years, so you may have to wait a long time.
Well, we're going to ensure the minister holds up to her commitment to name those persons. Actually, in our view, by not naming them, and in the manner upon which the minister has explained it, she brings a certain controversy to what should be a non-controversial issue. And it is sad and unfortunate that the OBA government continues this sort of lack of commitment to the transparency proclamation that they supposedly were committed to when they were elected.
Canadian photographer Deborah Friedman went to churches, schools, and on the street to capture on lens an array of Bermudian teens whose very images portray an inner warmth and fellowship that is decidedly appealing. Her exhibition, Photographing Teenage Bermuda, opens tonight in the Rick Ferries Gallery at the Masterworks Museum of Bermuda Art, and the artist shares with Charles Webb her pleasure in capturing these appealing images.
I know that in Bermuda, a lot of the kids, public and private, go to schools where uniforms are required. And I've always been interested in people in uniform, adults or teenagers, because it's kind of a way to democratize the individual. So everybody's wearing the same thing.
Even though they're in uniform, you've sort of made them seem very candid. Was that intentional?
Yeah, I don't give a lot of direction, and I think young people are, they present themselves. They're used to presenting themselves. They're very used to looking at themselves and making kind of a study of how they're going to present themselves to the world. And then again, with the uniform, they're looking for ways to make it their own. Some of them were, you get a sense of their personalities, especially in connection to one another in this way. You see who's really, it's really important for them to be really neat and tidy, and some of them are just completely unkempt, and I find that charming.
How simple was it for you to get their cooperation to pose so candidly?
Very, very. They're so used to photographing themselves, each other. The most successful kinds of situations were going into places where they're hanging out anyway, like the fast food place. After school, there are booths of friends sitting around together, and that was wonderful for me.
Photographing Teenage Bermuda runs until June the 23rd. Believed to be the only unlicensed pilot to fly a single-engine Cessna via the northern air route from Belgium to Bermuda in 2014, local businessman John Tomlinson has put together an illustrated talk on his mind-blowing experience, including his flight over a volcano and the disappearance of another small plane on the same route a few days before he made his attempt. The plane is now available for hire, and those involved with the America's Cup are among the potential clients.
I found the aircraft in Europe, and I had a choice. I could have taken the wings off, put it in a box and sent it here. Like most people might. Or the option that became available was to fly it under instruction, because I don't have a license, from Brussels to Bermuda. And it's a traditional route to get from the States to Europe, using what they call the northern route. And it becomes increasingly more hazardous the closer to winter you are in the calendar. And we cut it a little bit fine because we went in September, and winter comes early in the north. And with winter comes meteorological challenges, which can create a problem for a small aircraft particularly.
How long did it take you?
It took about 14 or 15 flying days, and we did take a break in the US because we found it necessary to fit a supplementary fuel tank in Bangor, Maine, in order that we could make the journey from Norfolk to Bermuda, which is the single longest leg.
Right, I thought it would be 700.
It's 675 miles, and we were fortunate to have a tailwind. So our average speed would be, let's say, 90 knots, but our speed from Norfolk to Bermuda over that period was 125 knots. The plane is influenced by the wind significantly, to the extent that during our journey at one point we hit 160 knots coming down the Hudson as we approached Central Park and what have you. And but going over Iceland when we were climbing, and we were carrying a lot of weight because there was a lot of baggage in the back. We actually we had a ground speed of something like 28 knots. So the cars were, I mean, even Bermuda cars would have been overtaking us at that point.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden for the latest from the sports desk.
The New Zealand Herald are reporting the dominoes continue to fall at Team New Zealand, with yet another sailor quitting the troubled America's Cup syndicate. After yesterday revealing design chief Nick Harold, as well as grinders Winston McLaren and Derek Saward, had resigned from Team New Zealand, the Herald has learned Pittman, Jeremy Lomas, has also followed them out the door. It is understood there are other members of the team weighing up their future at the syndicate. The Bermuda Amateur Swimming Association's national coach Ben Smith announced the swimmers to represent Bermuda at the FINA World Championships in Kazakhstan, Russia.
Yes, we went through a process to select the athletes that would be representing Bermuda at the FINA World Championships being held later on this summer. It's actually in August in Kazan, Russia. Rebecca Halliger will be representing us in the 50 freestyle and 100 freestyle, fresh off of her results at national championships, which is really what sealed the deal for her. And Julian Fletcher, who obviously has been setting a lot of national records over the last 12 months, he will be doing the 100 breast and 200 breast. So we're looking forward to what they're going to be able to do in Russia.
Now, anyone that attended the national championships or watched it live got a taste of what some of our elite athletes are doing, but also some of our local athletes who are improving all the time. What goals are you setting for the two that are going to Russia, and other goals that for other teams that will be made up to go out this summer?
Well, for the two that are going to Russia, obviously the goal was to come here and perform without having to rest very much. So they were still in heavy training, but looking to put some good times in because they were looking to be selected for that team. Lowering the national records and aiming towards the B cut for a Rio is really the goal that we'd be setting for this summer. For the young up-and-comers, obviously we've got CCCAN coming up, which is going to be held in Barbados. We'll be heading out next Saturday on the 20th. And we have a lot of our medalists from Carifta will be heading down to see if they can improve their results from Carifta and maybe bring back some more medals.
Kamal Levrock and his Cardiff MCCU teammates clinched the MCC University two-day championships in the UK after defeating Oxford MCC by 96 runs. Winning the MCC championships now qualifies Levrock and his Cardiff teammates for the MCC one-day challenge final at Lord's on Monday, June 27th. This will be their third cup final in 3 years at the home of cricket, with Levrock happy about his game and playing at Lord's.
I'm feeling a lot better than I have before. I've been doing a lot of winter work. Obviously, we do strength and conditioning work, and feel good. Haven't picked up any little injuries or anything like that, so I'm feeling great.
And how has your cricket developed over this year? Confidence is through the roof?
Yeah, my confidence is higher than it's ever been, really. Not so much of an all-round, I guess, anymore. Been building more. Yes, all-round is more of a novelty now.
Well, your last knock for Newport, you had a quick fire, 24 to help him to win. So you still got a bit of batting in you.
Yeah, of course, still got a little bit of batting on me. Right now, on the weekends, obviously because I'm playing a lot of cricket and building a lot of overs, right now on the weekend for my league team, I'm only batting. So just focusing on obviously batting on the weekends and keeping up with that, so it's all right.
What's the strength and weaknesses of the MCCU Cardiff team?
To tell you the truth, we don't have any weaknesses at the moment. We have a good backroom staff. Our manager, our coaches are all good. Bowling coaches, batting coaches, strength and conditioning coaches. So we don't have any weaknesses right now. We're all starting to play as a team.
The Bermuda Lawn Tennis Association sanctioned tournament going on at the Bermuda Gates last evening continued, and the night featured the men's A singles semifinals and a mixed doubles semifinal. In the men's A singles tournament, number 1 seed Gavin Manders was defeated by number 3 seed David Thomas. The pair needed 3 sets to be separated. Manders went ahead 1-0 when he won the first set 7-6, but Thomas would draw a level, winning the second set 6-2. Thomas would then advance to the finals, winning the third and final set 6-3. In the other men's semifinal, tournament number 2 seed Jensen Bascom defeated Chris Weeks in straight sets 6-love, 6-love. Thomas returned later in the evening to team up with Zaire Simmons, and they advanced to the mixed doubles finals in straight sets 6-3, 6-2 over Andre Momen and Maria Ramirez Munn. A doubleheader took place at Bernard Park that saw 84 goals scored in the latest round of the Bermuda Netball Association Summer League season. Squad 1 defeated the Teachers 19-16, which was the Teachers' second loss of the season. Denori Robinson scored 11 goals to lead Squad 1 to victory, while Demiqua Daniels added 8 goals. Kellen Smith scored 10 goals for the Teachers, while Shawnette Adams chipped in with 6 goals. BAC defeated Squad 2 37-12. BAC got 21 goals from Derica Simons and 16 goals from Kirsten Soltis. Amaya Butterfield scored 10 goals for the Squad 2, with Kamala Nazir adding 2 goals. I'm Earl Baisden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Saturday, June 13th, there will be a mix of sun and cloud. Winds southerly and light, gradually veering southwesterly and increasing light to moderate. We are expecting a high near 81 Fahrenheit and a low near 73 Fahrenheit. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching VSB News Online for Friday, June the 12th. I'm Peter Cattell.